Welcome to No Stats, where we call it how we see it.
Back again with another one.
Back again, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm telling on Peach, he was just messing these gummies up. He eating his daughter's
I
gummies.
still got more.
Stop eating all the gummies, man. Before we jump
Sorry, baby.
to today's NFL previews, as always, like, share, comment, ring that bell, subscribe, so y'all can stay looped into all these NFL previews and predictions we putting out. NBA news is around the corner. We got college football around the corner, college basketball around the corner. So we getting out of this summer drought, and we getting into a lot of the topics that y'all want to hear about. So make sure y'all ring that bell so y'all can stay connected, and me and Peach can keep delivering on this content for y'all.
We throwing nothing but no looks and dime passes, cuz, and dots.
Watch the handle, it takes skill. We gotta run it back. We in the field, and you said it Jason Jack. You in your field, we looking for the facts. Let's keep it real, yeah, we talking no stats. Yeah, we talking no stats. Yeah, we talking no stats.
Brother, we still in the NFC West, right? And today we going to Seattle, talking about the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll, Geno Smith just got that contract. They made him their quarterback for the next couple years. DK Metcalf, who eat candy like you.
He does. He about to come out with his own candy too. Can't wait.
As he should. But no, let's talk about this ball club, bro. They got some veterans mixed in with some young players. They've been hitting on the draft these last couple of years, man. Their draft classes has been beautiful. Guys that's coming in and producing right away. They got a young team. And they putting the pieces together, bro, behind a coach that had Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl ring to go along with that. Long resume for Pete Carroll. But last year, they was able to get into the playoffs, and I think they shocked a lot of people because a lot of people, and Geno Smith was quoted saying it throughout the season. They write me off. A lot of people, what did he say? A lot of people write me off, but I ain't write back.
That's it.
And he showed up, bro. He showed up. He balled out, made the offense look explosive for a minute. A lot of people had him as like MVP candidate, bro. Like
This
Geno
team
Smith,
was ninth ranked in the league in offense last year, bro. Like that's with a 9-8 record, and that, the Cardinals is in that division, but that division with the Rams and the Niners, they play each other tough, man. So for them to really kind of separate themselves last year and kind of find a little bit of an identity, that's been phenomenal, bro.
absolutely, bro. And like you said, ninth ranked offense. So you think a lot of their woes had to be defensively, because if you had a top 15 defense, that'll put you at the top of the NFC. So you can see they lost some players. In the key loss, they lost Shelby Harris, right? They lose Poona Ford. They lose Jonathan Ingram. Abram. They lose Ryan Neal. They lose Cody Barton. But they replace him with some dogs. They had Devin Bush. They get Bobby Wagner back. I love the Julian Love, no pun intended. I love the Julian Love signing back there from the Giants. I think he's a beast. They hoping they can get Jamal Adams back from injury. Then they add Devin Witherspoon, who was the consensus number one quarterback in the draft. He ended up falling to them, right? So now you put him on the other side of Tyreek Woolen, who had a crazy year last year and is expected to jump into that top 5 cornerback talk. Then they also add Derek Hall from Auburn, who I liked in the draft. They draft, moving to the other side of the ball offense. They add Jackson Smith Najigba, who was a beast at Ohio State, to go with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And then they bring in Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA to add to Kenneth Walker III in that running back room. So they add to an already dynamic offense. They bring some veteran presences in on the defense. It's a team that lost in the NFL. The NFC wildcard round against the Niners, but looking to get a little further this year.
They juicing up, bro. I mean, you think about the additions to, Kenneth averaged 7 yards a carry. DK and Tyler Lockett both had over 1,000 yards receiving. Bro, this offense was really putting up numbers, man. and you
They
add
were.
Jackson Smith in there who can learn from a guy like Tyler Lockett, learn from a guy like DK Metcalf, bro. Man, sky's the limit. It's all on Geno. I always say this is all on the quarterback. He done got his money. He done finally fell into a situation that
Yep.
benefits him, benefits his organization, and he got all the tools around him,
Now,
bro.
yeah, I agree, bro. I'm so glad you said that because that's a perfect segue. I don't. Geno Smith seems like a guy who, like he said, they was writing him off. He ain't right back. Now that he got his money, I don't think he'll slow down, right? But there's been a long history of players once they get paid, that drive, that hunger to go achieve something or prove something. It's like I proved it already, and the performance isn't the same, or something just turns off when they get that bag. Do you see Geno taking a step back into reality? Do you think last year was his peak, or do you think there's more room to go for a quarterback like Geno?
I think it's more room to go, bro. Geno's been, I'm not gonna say like banging on the door, but he's been around. He's been relevant as like a great backup. And then for him to get into the situation that he fell into with Seattle, and then finally giving him what he always worked hard for, I can't see him letting up just yet. I feel like he's gonna have another phenomenal season. I can see some wolves coming up down the line based on if they exceed expectations like last year, and make a little bit of a deep playoff run. But I don't think I think Geno takes a step forward now that he done got his money and now that he done got a phenomenal situation.
I agree, bro. I don't see him taking a step back, but it's hard to top last year, man. I think, and we'll get into the schedule.
My charger.
No, you good. And we'll get into the schedule, right? But one of the reasons we just finished up with the Rams preview, so if you ain't checked that one out, go check that video out. But one of the reasons I personally am more optimistic with the Rams, a little teeny bit, than the Seahawks, just because of the schedule, right? The Seahawks are playing a second place schedule, so and I believe they have the 11th toughest schedule in the NFL. So they're playing harder competition than the Rams because they had a better season last year. That's just the way it goes. But there's still a team that I think they can make the playoffs. I think they'll still be over 500, and we'll get into the schedule. But they'll be exciting offensively still, and I think it depends on how this defense comes together. Bobby Wagner should help. Like I said, guys like Julian Love should help. Devin Bush should help. So we'll see, man. That'll be fun. I'll be interested to watch this Seattle squad.
It's good to see them still striving and still staying relevant after losing a franchise guy like Russell Wilson.
That's a good point, bro. And they've been able to do so well in this draft and get all those picks for Russell Wilson, and I believe they still have picks. And not fall off after losing your cornerstone. Think about it, bro. They broke up that whole Legion of Boom. Cam Chancellor and Sean Richard Sherman. Yeah. Richard Sherman. Everybody pretty much, went away. They lost a quarterback. They lost a lot, man, and they've still able to stay afloat. So that's really impressive from an organizational standpoint. But like you said, last year 9-8. They start the season out at home against the Rams. We just wrapped up the Rams. We had the Rams losing, so Seattle get this dub here. Then they got to go on the road against Detroit, which that's a game that I think is going to be a fun game to watch.
You've been big on the Lions. You've been big on them.
The reason I've been big on them, bro, is I think offensively, they're exciting, and I think defensively, not even defensively, I just think from a culture standpoint, Dan Campbell got them boys like dogs. He's a coach that just has an energy that rubs off onto that squad, and they got a lot of momentum. They feel like they can be good. So sometimes when the media or the world instills that hype in you, you look in the mirror and you go, "Oh, I really can be this good." But albeit in Detroit, I got the Lions getting that dub. Then they're home against the Panthers. I think that's an easy W early in the season. Then they go on the road to New York, and I think this is one that New York can pull out in a weird game. I think they can make this game ugly. 20-17 Giants win. Early bye week 5, so they're going to the bye 2-2. How you feel about that? We're going to take a break at the bye.
Oh, I like that, man. I do think they can get that week 2 win versus the Lions. I'm not too set on them yet until
See it.
I got to see how this ball club starts out. I mean, I know that's still early in the season, but this Seahawks team is a little bit more seasoned than this Lions group. I think they got a little bit more pedigree, so I could see 3-1 heading into the bye, just running off juice from last season. But
I could see it too, bro. But if I had to pick one, it'll be the Giants. I think they could beat the Giants. Like I said, I think this Giants team going. I'll save it for the Giants take. But I think that's a winnable game. But then they come out of the bye, and
what did I? If you guys haven't already, go back and watch all our NFL previews. If the Bengals is on the schedule, the Bengals more than likely have an L next to their name.
Bro. I mean, this isn't about the Bengals. This is about Seattle. But the Bengals are the team that won 12 games. They only had 4 losses last year. And I think
I'm talking about shit.
Absolutely. But I want to put some reasoning behind this for Seahawks fans, right? Because they're coming off a bye, and that's important because you get 2 weeks to prepare for a team. But I think going to Cincinnati makes it a little different. You got to travel cross country. I think if this was in Seattle, I would give Seattle the win here. Another thing is the Bengals will be coming off a Week 5 game versus Arizona, which is kind of like a bye. The Cardinals are going to be
so Cardinals fans just pulled up in the comments.
Yeah. So that's the reason I got the Bengals getting this dub at home, and coming off a underhand pitch of an opponent. So loss coming off the bye, but they followed up with 2 wins. They beat the Cardinals, and then I think they beat the Browns at home. 2 W's. And then they got to go on the road in Week 9 to Baltimore and Lamar. I think that'll be an interesting game with Lamar and Geno. And then Week 10, they'll get the dub against the Commanders, right? So through 10 weeks, what's their record? 5-4?
5-4, as expected. As expected, mirroring that Rams team.
Absolutely. What you about to say, bro? Go ahead.
Oh no, but I was just gonna say 5-4 through the first 10 weeks, we can see this ball club being there. I think it's gonna be a tough stretch, man. This second half of, you look, you got to see the 49ers twice on this side. You couldn't have seen them earlier in the season.
That stretch, bro. 11 through 15 is tough. I mean, 11 through 17 because you got to go to Tennessee.
I feel like the Titans and the Steelers are those teams where,
well coached, bro.
Yeah, well coached. They kind of been around. They've had that, not necessarily the whole core intact, but they got some guys that have been through their system for a while. And I think they're gonna play games tough. It's gonna be tough to get games in Pittsburgh, in Tennessee, even if they're coming to your club. Derrick Henry could fucking rush for a buck, fucking 70 and have 3 fucking touchdowns. The Steelers gonna hold you to fucking 10 points, win the game 13 to fucking 10. So that's tough, bro. That's tough.
Nah, seriously, bro. You're absolutely right. So let's jump into the second half of the schedule. You're on the road in LA against the Rams. I got the Rams getting that W. I got you splitting. Got the Seahawks splitting with the Rams, right? And then Week 12 at home versus 49ers. I got them winning this one, bro. I wanted to switch it. Not on the road. At home against the 49ers. Sorry, I'm mixing those up. At home against the 49ers. I think they'll get that win. I think the momentum will be behind this ball club. I think they'll know that this is the top of the division, and if you want to win the division, it starts here. You got to beat these big dogs, and I think they'll pull that one out. But then they go on a 2-game road trip against 2 playoff teams, 2 teams that advanced past the first round of the playoffs, the Dallas Cowboys, and then the 49ers again. I think that's 2 losses, bro. I think that's a tall task to be on the road for that long. But they got to play. They come back home and they play the Eagles, right? And there's a pattern going on right now in this schedule where they're winning their home games and they're losing their road games. And I like when I start to notice stuff as I'm walking through it, because I think Seattle's known for their home stadium. right? It's nicknamed the 12th man because of the way the architecture is and how loud it gets in there, how the sound vibrations bounce off the wall. So I think this will be a better team at home, and I think a lot of their road games are tough. I mean, you got to go to Cincinnati, you got to go to Detroit, you got to go to Baltimore, you got to go to Dallas, you got to go to San Fran, you got to go to LA. So there's a reason behind that, but they come home, they play the Eagles, and I think this will be kind of similar to Week 12. This is a team that it's a measuring stick game, right? Where it's like, all right, we're coming off 2 losses, and we know what the Eagles represent. So, they represented the NFC in the Super Bowl last year, and I think they'll be up for that challenge and get that dub. And I think you agree with me there, bro.
You got to be ready to take down Goliath, man. And anytime, you got the reigning NFC champs or AFC champs coming into your building, I mean, I'm getting up for that game. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, bro. And when you're in that position as the Eagles, bro, everybody's vying for you. Everybody wants to see how good they are against you, because you the dog. You know what I mean? You the big dog. So I think they can pull that one off. Right, in Week 16, they got to fly out to Tennessee. It's going to be a tough game. I don't think there's going to be a layup. Like you said, I think Derrick Henry could expose the Seahawks defensive line. But I think Seattle will put Tennessee in a position where you can't keep running the ball.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need to throw that thing. Because we just spoke about how potent the Seahawks offense has been last year and will be this year. We're adding some new pieces. So I think Tannehill will probably throw a pick at the end of the game, and Seattle will run away with that victory. If Will Levis isn't the quarterback by then. But Week 17, they're home. They take their first home loss. So they get their first road W and take their first home L in back-to-back weeks. They got to play Pittsburgh. I like this Pittsburgh squad, man. I mean, T.J. Watt may be the best. Maybe, when healthy, the best. It's an argument. The best defensive player in the NFL. You got Minka Fitzpatrick. Excuse me. They draft Joey Porter Jr. We'll talk about the Steelers. A lot of pieces on that squad. Mike Tomlin never had a losing record. You always got to be wary of the Steelers. It's very, very, very rarely that you're going to blow them. Yeah, it's very rare you're going to blow them out. And then you finish the season off at home against the Cardinals. Big game because you're 8-8 going into this game, and this may be for playoff implementation. Not on the Cardinals' behalf, but this may be your chance to get into the playoffs. So I think they get that dub. Identical record to last year. So we did a lot of pumping this squad up, but they end up with the same record. But a lot of that is due to the 11th toughest schedule in football. And going on the road and playing, that's almost all playoff teams. For real, bro. The Lions is a team that they expect a lot from, right? One game out of the playoffs. Giants playoff team, Bengals playoff teams, Ravens playoff teams. Rams won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Cowboys playoff teams, 49ers playoff team. I mean, that's tough to go on the road and do that. But, yeah, bro.
Yeah, and we gave you the Eagles. We gave you the Eagles win in Week 15. I really like that one. But that could go north.
So you know how we do it, bro. Give me a game that you would change a L you would change to a W, and a W you would change to an L.
The L that I would change to a W would be, like I said before, that Week 2 at Detroit. They still got to show me something. But one win in particular that I would change to an L is, I think, Week 8 versus the Browns. Like you said, who knows what this defensive line would do with Derrick Henry, but imagine what they could do with somebody like Nick Chubb, and then a dual threat quarterback in Deshaun Watson. This Browns team, they're probably going to be exciting as well too. So that's one game that, in particular, I would probably switch there.
Yeah. No, I'm not arguing with those, bro. Good point on Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb could do the same exact thing Derrick Henry did. And I think Deshaun Watson's at this has the potential to be better than Ryan Tannehill. Like, I would trust Deshaun Watson throwing the ball at the end of the game. Coming off a year of playing now, right? A few games of playing last year, more than Tannehill. So that could definitely be a L. But if I had to change an L to a W, bro, it'll be Baltimore, man. I think this
Mm.
Baltimore team has a lot of hype around them, and rightfully so, with Odell and Lamar coming back, signing that contract, but with the new offensive coordinator, and we'll talk about the Ravens. If they really want to pass the ball more, I think you're taking away Lamar's greatest asset in his legs. So I think Seattle may be able to take advantage of that. And you're going to have to throw the ball, and I think that's where we've seen Lamar, downfalls be. Going in shootouts when you're throwing the ball. So I think that could be a W. And I think a W that could turn into a L. It'll be one of these games that we're not expecting, bro. Like, I said, they do beat the Ravens. I can definitely see the next week at home against the Commanders. You go in there and you lay an egg. I could also see that Titans game, as I mentioned. So
you gonna be riding high though if things play out with that Week 10 game versus the Commandos, because you get that Ravens win. That's a 3-game win streak.
That's 4 in a row. That's 4.
You're in right here, man.
Oh yeah, but you saying before the Commanders? Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, like if they was like going into the Commanders game,
right, right. Agreed, bro. Yeah, so Seattle. I know y'all
fans pull up.
I know the Seahawks fans out there, bro. I know they're going to be there and they're going to be lively in the chat, in the comment section. So leave y'all comments below. Let us know how y'all feel. Are we tripping? It's 9 wins. Asinine compared to the acquisitions y'all made, the drafts picks y'all got. Let us know what y'all season record prediction to be. Load those comments up.